This will be an interesting video, but I needed to get this serious thought off my mind and hear what you guys think about today's topic. Now, I've been on this planet for a long time, and unfortunately, I've never gotten the chance to bury my salami in a never-defiled woman before. Yeah, I know you guys must be laughing that I never got the opportunity, but if you think about it, it's not like there are a lot of them in the world nowadays anyways, so just off the numbers alone, it is hard to find one let alone convince one to let you pop their cherry. And the worst part is these young girls are also starting early, so by the time they are 21, it is damn near impossible to get a girl or girlfriend that is undefiled. And let's say you are lucky to find a woman in her 20s that has never been touched. If you're not committing to her in a relationship like us free agents, then the already low chances of sleeping with one just got lower. So yeah, that's why I've never had the opportunity to lay with a woman like that. But although I didn't have sex with an undefiled woman, I know a few, and I was with a girl that never had any pipe in her peace sleeve. But apart from wanting to conquer a woman and be the first man to have bedroom fun and teach her about sex, I honestly don't like them besides that. Gents, unless the girl is ready and willing to part her legs, these people are a huge waste of time, and they make everything relating to sex difficult. I was with my ex for 2 years, waiting patiently to bust down her extra tight watery vice grip, and she finessed the hell out of me. But to be fair, she told me she wasn't willing to give me her innocence. However, she led me on with the hope that it could happen down the road, and that's how she got me to stick around until she finished college, and then she skedaddled. So I don't put all the blame on her because I was a willing participant and I wasn't perfect in a relationship either. With that said, I had interactions with girls who said they were virgins and who I can verify with 90% accuracy that they never had sex before, and all of them were a pain in the butt to deal with. And let's say you convince a woman to let you split her cherry. You're responsible for where she ends up in life after the deed is done. You can't just be running around here turning virgins into 304s or allowing these women to become single mothers, skittles, and prostitutes. So unless you're willing to put a ring on her finger or wipe her up, then I would not recommend messing with virgins. And the segs probably won't be good for a long time because she's inexperienced and she probably won't want to try and do all the nastiest things in the bedroom either, so expect it going in. Think it over whether or not you want to take on responsibility of caring for a girl you defiled. You can't be in these streets complaining about 304s and be out here turning potentially decent women into alutis. That's the definition of hypocrisy, in my opinion. You have to choose one. Either you stay over on the dark side and mess with the soulless XX over there, or decide it's time to settle down and be responsible for a woman sexually, so choose wisely. I have to be fair, gents. We can't say we want good women, but be out here turning women into the very women we don't want to take seriously. I'm not saying that because they are undefiled, it automatically means they are a good woman, but just be conscious that you can't have a problem with 304s and be willing to smash a virgin and dash. That's where I stand on that argument, so I don't come off as a hypocrite. Because truth be told, unless you have nitrogen gas in your lungs, most of you who have or get a daughter will not want a reality where her first experience ends up with her being dumped. With that said, I don't cape for women or speak from the women's perspective unless it's warranted, so now it's time to go in and tell you guys how I see virgins and the stupid reason why men overvalue these types of women. Let's start by talking about men's false perception of undefiled women. For some reason, men correlate virginity with being a good woman, and I'm here to tell you that's not true. A virgin girl, by most men's definition, would be a girl that never had sex before, and that would be interpreted as her peace sleeve never got ran through by anyone. That is typically the first thing that would come to a man's mind when he hears virgin. However, most men don't realize that a woman who never got their wet vice grip pounded out doesn't mean she hasn't done things in the bedroom before. That is what most men never think about or contemplate when the subject of virginity comes up. They automatically assume she's a good girl just because she's never had bedroom fun before. But what if I told you that's the wrong mindset to view virgins in, and that doesn't mean they are good women? Would you believe me? Well, let me ask you this. Don't virgins also cheat on their boyfriends? Yes, they do. I'm sure someone watching this video had their girlfriend, who was a virgin at the time, cheat on them. So we can say just off that alone that being a virgin doesn't mean being a good girl, because if a 304 did the same regardless of whether or not it was a sexual affair, you would slander her name, and the same should go for the virgin girl. The next thing I want you to consider is, are you sure that pure women don't engage in sexual activities? That one might have gone over your head, so let me clarify a bit more. Some women have never had their peace sleeve stretched but did other stuff that defile themselves, but you would still consider them a virgin. For example, there are religious women that will not have their wet vice grip beat up, but they have no problem taking it up the back door. You know this happens more often than not, and technically are still a virgin even though they were getting their tailpipe stretched out. What about virgins that got their wet vice grip eaten out by men and other XXs? Isn't that a part of segs that can stain a person? Yes, it is, brothers. You have pure XX that experimented with men and women but never got their pea sleeve smashed through, so technically she's still undefiled. Would you still consider her a good woman? And what about the virgins that give their boyfriends and sneaky links the Gawk 9000 and let them slide in the tip and rub his salami through her pea sleeve lips? Is she still a virgin? Well, technically by most men's definition she is. So I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say and realize that virgins are out here in these streets too. Many of them have done stuff prior to actually popping their cherry, so we must acknowledge that a virgin doesn't necessarily mean a good woman. A girl that can prove that her hymen is still intact could have been a cream gobbler that was gobbling salami left, right, and center. We would definitely consider that 304 activities without a doubt. Same with the girls that got the pea sleeve eaten out and took the banana up the tailpipe. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams for that one. That sounds like she's not such a good girl like how we perceive her to be. Am I right? So understand that your virgin girl could have had trains ran on her, but she only gave them backdoor access and swallowed their kids, and there's no way on God's green earth I would consider her a good girl just because her cherry is still there. So again, virgin does not equal good. The next thing I want to touch on is the girls that are a virgin with a 304 mindset. Look, gents, it's my belief that some girls have 304 genes in them. I know it sounds weird, and I don't know if there's any study that can prove this, but I've seen generations of women that all turned out to be for the streets. So is it just because of their environment, learned behavior, or it's in their DNA? I believe it's in their DNA because it would explain why an entire bloodline of women goes down the same path of being a 304. Apart from that, it's also true that it's in their nature to want to be in these streets, along with social conditioning telling them it's empowering to slurp as many digging sticks as possible. Even virgins want to be in these streets now. Yes, gents, I've known girls who never got their pea sleeve beat up before and had the 304 mindset of wanting to ride the rooster carousel. I kid you not, gents, and these girls gave away their unpopped cherry to the guy they liked just to get it over with, and after that, it was a free-for-all. Dudes had these women in the bushes. They got trains ran on them. Some were in the dorms messing with their roommates. Some were on video gobbling salami. It was an all-out freak show, brothers. These girls went crazy after their first experience, and from that day on, I knew they were for the streets in body and soul. It didn't matter whether or not a hymen was betwixt her legs. Their purpose in life was to be service providers to Chad, Tyrone, Pookie, and Ray Ray. So just because she hasn't experienced segs doesn't mean she's not a 304 waiting to be unleashed in these streets. Some of you might think these women were traumatized or had a past. Well, some were, but many of them came from what seemed like stable households from the outside looking in. So I'd assume that no tragedy led them down that path. Hence why I'm so adamant that some women just have 304 DNA and must follow programming and be for the streets. And if you stop and think about it, if you impregnate a 304, then it makes sense that some of what she is gets passed onto the child. If cancer and hypertension can be passed down, then who is to say that being a alt-lewd cannot be passed down in a woman's DNA? I can't prove it because I've not done my research or know if any study ever touched on that topic, but I believe it's possible. So my point is that a woman may be pure in the flesh but not in mind or spirit, and most of you would blindly trust her and never know. Tap the like button, guys, if you believe I'm onto something or I'm getting crazy. Let's tie everything back to why men value virgins to make this all make sense. Men value virgins because of perceived value in human evolution. Let me explain. A virgin signals that the woman has never had bedroom fun before, so it gives men a high chance of passing on their seed, and the baby will be his. Just remember that before modern times, we did not have any DNA tests available. So for a man to know if the offspring created was his, a virgin would have been the best indicator to make that man know that any baby that his woman carries after they copulate will most likely be his. A 304 in those times and now will carry the DNA of multiple men, so it would be difficult to tell who the father is, so we evolved to value virgins so we can be confident the baby created is ours. As it relates to perceived value, that's pretty simple to knock out the park. Anything that has been owned and used repeatedly by multiple people will not be perceived as valuable. Just like a car, most new cars are worth far more than a used car because nobody has owned them before, so they will have a higher perceived value and no wear and tear. But a car owned and operated by multiple people has mileage on it. The parts get worn and need to be replaced, which will have wear and tear, which lowers the car's value. Same with women. A virgin has higher perceived value because nobody had her sexually before. Well, in the old days, maybe that was more true than in modern times. I already told you what some of these women are doing to go around losing their hymen. So even those women now have mileage and wear and tear on them. If a woman has never had anyone, men will see her as more valuable because he's her first partner. 304s, on the other hand, have high mileage, wear and tear, kids from other men, DNA still inside their pea sleeve from Pookie and Ray Ray, and some have STDs. So which man in their right mind would perceive a 304 as valuable past a layup? My point exactly, so that's the simple breakdown of why men value virgins over 304s. Let me leave you guys with this. Virgins of modern times can be doing things besides having their pea sleeve blown out, so you mustn't automatically perceive these types of women as valuable without vetting and doing your investigation on them. Undefiled women also wear masks like the rest of the women in society. They can wear the good girl mask, the 304 that's experimenting mask, the born-again Christian mask, the rebellious spirit mask, and so on. So keep your guard up and remember they can also be for the streets in flesh, mind, and spirit. Share the video with someone who needs this message, and if you want to donate to the channel, the links to our Cash App and PayPal are in the description box below. Also, if you want to learn the truth about the legal seg's work on seeking arrangements, then click the video on the screen right now.